Hi everyone. In the previous video, we discussed a bit on the single responsibility principle and we saw a practical example on the same. In this video, we are going to discuss the open-close principle, which was given by Mr. Bertrand Meyer in 1988 in his book called as Object-Oriented Software Construction. So in his book, he actually wrote just a one-liner that said a software artifact should be open for extension but closed for modification. Now, this one-liner is kind of self-explanatory, but it's always better to deal with a small and a practical example. So let's begin. So we have a typical Java project. I've named it as Understanding OCP for this video. And we have two classes, that is a main class and the shopping cart class. The main class and the shopping cart class here. Now in the shopping cart class, we have one method called as checkout that takes an integer parameter called as bill, and we are just, for the sake of simplicity obviously, we are just printing out that payment of so and so bill is processed. And in the main class, we are just calling that checkout method by instantiating an instance of shopping cart class, and we are passing 20 as the parameter. So obviously if we try to run it, we'll see that payment of 20 processed. Now let's say our client comes to us and say that we want to implement credit card payment feature as well as debit card payment feature so that the customers are able to pay by one of those payment modes. How will you do it? Now let's say I don't know OCP yet. So how would I go about this? So let's say I built it in this way. So here I've created two Boolean arguments called is credit card payment and is debit card payment. If either of them is true, then the respective printout statements will be printed. I have to keep in mind that I pass either of them as true or false. If I pass both as false, then obviously the else block will be executed. So to see that, just let's see true and false, and if we try to run it, then we'll see that payment of 20 processed through credit card. If we try to do the vice versa, or let's say both as false, then we'll see the normal payment of 20 process without any payment. Now this is still fine. I mean, this doesn't create any problem as such. Assume that this doesn't create any problem since there are only two payment modes. It is comfortable, not that problematic. But if the client comes to us and says that we want to integrate PayPal as well, now this is where the problem begins. Managing three payment modes through this if else syntax is not something considered a good design. Here is where the OCP comes into picture. OCP says that whatever artifact you have, let's assume this is our artifact, this is a business logic. It should be open for extension, but it should not be open for modification. It should be closed for modification, right? But here, if we want to integrate another payment mode, we have to modify it. We have to add another else if block and say it is PayPal payment and then print accordingly. And this is where we need to avoid that kind of an approach. So we can say that this is non-OCP compliant code in a way. So how do we go about developing a system which is OCP compliant? So what we'll do is we'll just create a folder here and let's just call it as payment. Okay, and it will consist of an interface which is called as payment mode. Now this payment mode will have a method called as let's say process payment, and it will say int. It will take one argument called as int bill. Now in the shopping cart, we don't have to do anything. Let's just close it for now, and then inside the payment we can create as many payment modes as we want. So let's just say I create one folder called as modes, and here I'll just create classes called credit card, and it will implement our interface. What was the name? Payment mode, and obviously it has to override the methods. We'll just click, and similarly we'll create one method debit card, and it will implement our interface again. It has to override the method again. So these two are done. Let's create one more. That is a new requirement, PayPal, and it should implement the payment mode interface. And yeah, now if we just open every mode whatsoever, you can define that print statement whatever you like. I mean, specific to that payment mode. So we can just copy that print statement for now. This. So credit card is done. Now debit card is done, and PayPal is also done. So our payment modes are set up. Let's say the client comes to us in the future. Let's say I want to implement Bitcoin as well, so we can add that easily in this folder. And that is what extension is. You are actually extending your artifact without troubling any other logic, any other business logic, any other block of code in your program. So payment mode is also done. Yeah, main class is not required for now. Coming back to shopping cart. Now I don't want this if else bad approach. Okay, since we are now OCP compliant, so we'll just also remove this, and what we'll do is we'll create a private variable for our payment mode, and we will set the payment mode this dot payment mode dot process payment bill. So this is a revamped shopping cart, and as you can see, this has the liberty to set the payment mode whatever it likes, and then check out with the respective bill amount, and it doesn't have to care about the business logic as it is being handled in the respective payment modes. So let's test this for now. Let's call the main. Yeah, shopping cart we have instantiated, and then we have to, let's say, test the credit card. So what we'll do, we'll just set first that new credit card, and then we can just call checkout 20. If we do that, and if we try to run it, we should see payment of 20 processed through credit card. And let's try with the other two as well, why not? And we don't have to do anything extra. We just have to change this part, PayPal, and execute. You can see. So this was my understanding and an effort to demonstrate the open close principle to you all. I hope it was of some help, and I'm sorry if the audio is not proper. Please raise the volume if you are facing any issues. And yeah, always a learner. Thank you. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.